Okay, Night of Champions. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, as you see from the title, only one match mattered. Only one. And I know people are going to say, dude, there was so much on the show. Don't matter. I'm going to make this clear right now. I'm saying this. I'm saying it clearly. I don't know if just Alex is going to say it. I doubt it. I don't know if JD is going to say this. I doubt it 100%. Just Alex will probably justify most of what's there. But I'm saying it right now. This show doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because almost everything on here except for one thing doesn't help Raw and SmackDown. Flat out doesn't help it. It don't. The majority of the stuff here doesn't help the damn shows. And I'm going to make this clear. Whether you believe Triple H is the one who's solely in charge, and you're wrong, because they've been reporting that Vince has been tearing up scripts again. You're wrong. Clearly, it don't matter if Triple H was in charge, or Vince is fully in charge, which he is, and he generally lets Triple H have a little bit of whatever he wants. But still, Vince can override him anytime and rip up any script he wants. It doesn't matter if they're both working together or if they're doing it separately or if one is in charge of the other. When you've seen how the product has been lately, it don't matter. It sucks on both shows. The only show that has any stability in WWE, and I'm one of the few people that'll say it, is NXT with Shawn Michaels running it. And that's saying a lot because it's still not perfect. It's not all the time great TV, but it's more balanced than what we get on the main cards of both shows of Raw and SmackDown. Let's open with the vid pack that leads into the first match. The video package of the World Heavyweight title and Triple H narrating how important the prestige of this title is going to be, where there was some talk about how the Eagle standing is come back, how they're honoring that, they're honoring Bruno Sammartino. They're supposed to say that this title is going to mean something. If it did, why did it open the damn show? Anyone is going to say, dude, that's how they always did with the Workhorse title. Sorry. You've already had your top star say that the world title is nothing but a secondary title. I'm sorry. You can't do that. It doesn't help. And many people will say that's part of his character. No, not in this situation, where the majority of the time we know he's not going to be there. He didn't need to go there. I don't care if it was Vince who came up with that. I don't care if it's Triple H. It probably was Vince. It was stupid because there are many people like myself who don't see it as an important title. It's a joke title. It's a joke title. Flat out. Because it should close the show. Because if the world title was something important, one, you should have had two Raw stars go after it. Not a SmackDown and Raw star. Sorry if that was too loud. Hopefully you heard me. But a Raw star versus a Raw star, not SmackDown and Raw. And it should close the show. This is supposed to be important for the flagship show that they keep touting. That Raw is the show. And this opens. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. I'm not going to tell you that the match was bad. It was not. Majority of these matches here were good. This was the second best match of the night. Hands down, it was the second best match because of not its just match quality, but the story behind it, because this is crowning the inaugural world champion of Raw. And the match was fine. You can see that they were trying to make it that this was kind of going back to when they have been dealing with the Universal title, that's Seth and AJ. You at one point that Seth, suppose he tweaked his left knee, and AJ was focusing on that. And they were trying to give as much sympathy as they could for Seth Rollins, who I got to say, if I don't have that shot, I'm going to be angry. I should have the shot. It's in my face. What the fuck was that he was wearing? A leopard skin, super poofed shoulders that was farther than his own body at one point. I'm sure you see it. It is in my face. I believe I got that shot. I'm going like, what the fuck? This is what his woman would do. And I got something to talk about when it comes to Becky and her match. But I'm like, what? But in the end, you know he was going to win. After coming back from filming a couple of weeks of a Marvel movie, he wins. And it's Triple H who comes into the ring, who is the very first. See it like this. This is kind of a full circle for Seth and Triple H, because Seth was the inaugural NXT champion after they went away from like the contestant tough enough type of NXT when it first started. When you saw like Titus O'Neil running around with a cake and falling on his ass. This was the first true inaugural NXT champion of the old black and gold. And now, once again, we get the inaugural heavyweight champion as a Seth Rollins as well. This is what Triple H wanted. This was his baby. This was his boy. This is what he wanted. And the interview was fine. He made it very clear that every week he's going to be defending it. Every week, in and out, on Raw, he will defend it every single time. He has to. Because the true champion is not going to be there much. The true champion will not be coming over to Raw much. So, there you go. And understand, and I want to make this clear, I don't hate Seth. I really like Seth. I truly care about Seth. But let's make it clear, he's holding a joke title. Because if it was a real title that meant something, it should have closed the show. It should have been with two Raw wrestlers. And it should have been feeling important and not be told by the other champion that it's a joke title. It's nothing. It's secondary. It's a consolation prize. You should never gone there. Roman didn't need to say it. I'm sorry. He didn't. Let's move on. Next match with his woman, Becky Lynch, who came out looking just like Kill Bill. Look, I know people love Kill Bill. I have the set of Kill Bill 1 and 2. Volume 1 and 2 of Kill Bill. Uma Thurman in those movies was damn good. I'm not saying she's the most greatest and most profound actress there is. She's not. But in Kill Bill, she did a damn good job. She killed it. And it doesn't hurt that she was... I'm telling you, even though in the older years, because she wasn't young there, she wasn't, but damn, she still looked, even though I think her boobs got a little smaller because she had more heavier chested boobs before, and I think she shrunk them down a little bit. She still looked great, but ever since then, it's been a running joke that if you want to show a woman to be a badass, you dress as Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. And they really do that a lot on and off in WWE. Let's make it clear. So we get her coming out. And then we get the Trish Stratus coming out. Let's make this clear. Was this a bad match? It was okay. It was not a bad showing between both of them. It's the first time they were together. Maybe they practiced in the ring a little bit just to get a good feel of each other. I'm not going to tell you it was perfect because... between the two, the one who looked the most sloppy was Trish. Trish looked more sloppy than Becky. But it is a difference because Becky is constantly wrestling and Trish only comes back for a little while. She's only been wrestling on and off while being on the roster. She's not constantly wrestling. This is what you get. They tried to say that Becky was more influenced by Lita than Trish. Trish, not Trish. Yeah. You know why I'm botching? Because of how they ended. I'm actually happy. Because they're using someone that I was terrified they were going to do nothing with. Because by the end of that match, Trish was thrown out of the ring. Becky goes out of the ring, grabs her, throws her in. Trish tries to crawl under the ring, and it is Michael Cole saying, dude, why is she going under the ring? Was she trying to run away? He didn't say that, but that's what it looked like. She gets thrown in the ring, and we get a much larger size because she's taller than them both. A Zoe Starks gives a whack to the chest of a Becky Lynch, not to the face. And I believe I got a shot because I was able to find a place to get a replay before coming on just to see where she broke her nose or got the nosebleed because she started bleeding after the match was over. I thought maybe it might have been Zoe to whack her in the nose, but I believe I got the shot, and you can see that her knee went straight to her abdomen or her breast or her stomach. Her right hand was on her thigh because, as you know, they like making those types of sounds to make it seem more dramatic, more impactful. It was not Zoe Stark. It was Trish Stratus, who with that bulldog drove her nose straight into the damn mat. She started bleeding afterward. I don't know if she broke it. I don't think she did. But if she did break her nose, you know why? Because of the bulldog. That bulldog ended her nose. She was bleeding. I believe I got a shot. It's in my face. It was not a little bit of blood. Think about Nia Jax, but on a lesser scale. Was this important? Yes, it's for Zoe Stark to actually be working with Trish Stratus. Whether you like Zoe or not, you're going to get to know her. Because Zoe is going to be doing the bidding of a Trish Stratus from now on. Good. Because I was worried about Zoe being used, and now she'll be the muscle for Trish Stratus. No problem. Let's move on. The IC title match. Oh, this was so typical. As you know, this was a Vince McMahon booking. If you think this is Triple H, no. This was Vince. Only Vince would use an Arabic wrestler to do a spot to make Arabics happy. Because Gunther going up against Mustafa Ali is 100% catering to the Jeddah fans. Because he is Muslim. Flat out, that's what he is. He comes from the region. He was born from the region. Not being born there, but you get my point. He was in Chicago. But his heritage comes from the Middle East. This was the token Arabic. That's what it comes down to. It's not that he deserved to win. Because if he did, he should have won. But he wasn't going to win. Gunther needs to break Honky Tonk Man's 2-year run. That's the way at least it's looking. And was the match bad? No, it was not bad. He got a good reaction. It's fine. I'm telling you that having a stereotype in a match sucks for most people. But it's how wrestling goes. And this is what people do not understand. They don't like it, but stereotypes are used in pro wrestling. It's how it goes. Americans are Americans, waving the flags and always with their guns. Russians are Russians, or in the case of Jinder Mahal, Indians are always treated bad. It's part of the stick of pro wrestling. It takes something that people gravitate to hate or to love. I'm not saying it's perfect, but that's the way it works. And Gunther won. He annihilated him eventually. I'm not saying that he had an easy run of it, but eventually he just destroyed him. Let's move on. The match that I did not care about. One of the two matches that is just stupid. Stupid. Beyond fucking recognition. It is stupid. It's not about the match quality. No. It's about how it's booked. It's stupid. The Raw title. Bianca Belair versus a Asuka from SmackDown. Say it again. Two SmackDown wrestlers are fighting for a Raw title. When are they going to switch them? It is so freaking stupid. Either unite the titles or get them to their actual shows where they belong. This was the two women's title matches that meant the most between Asuka and Bianca Belair. You guys tell me below. Bianca needs to do something about her hair. Because if you didn't notice, Bianca's hair, she got a braid all the way about this long. It is a long ass braid. But have you noticed that she wants it raggedy? And every time when she gets into a match, a chunk of her hair, if it's a braid or weave or whatever it is, keeps popping out of her head. It looks nasty. I don't know why she keeps doing it. This is what she does. Match was fine. In the end, Asuka wins by digging her hand into her eyes after spitting, I believe, on her fingers. Fine. Asuka finally wins a title that belongs on another show. Really? Are you going to cheer that? They did. They were happy to see Asuka finally win, which I do love Asuka. Look, I love Kata-chan. Understand, I love her. I always thought Asuka was a great wrestler. She has a great personality when they use her correctly. But we're talking about Asuka winning the Raw title on SmackDown. The Raw title on SmackDown. It is stupid. I don't give a fuck about it. But in the end, she does win. Now, let's do the next match because they wanted to get this done quickly. The SmackDown title between Rhea Ripley and I feel sorry, Natalya. Look, I'm not a huge fan of I'm calling her Potato now instead of Natalya because that was nothing. That was a potato match. Quick and dumb. That's a potato match. Because what did we get? We got Natalya coming out wearing a pink beret hat, cheering people, giving her glasses to a little child, giving her a big hug. No problem. Then you got Dom and the Dommy Mommy that many men want that has the broad shoulders and a Rhea Ripley who no one's saying they don't want her. She is, even though like Cock Diesel, she got muscles, she got shoulders, she's still curvy with a nice dumpy back there. She looked great. Any man would be happy. And if you're not happy and you're with her, why the fuck are you with her? We would love her. But what do we get? Dom distracting her. Wax. Well, let me structure this properly. Let me go blow by blow. We get Rhea and Natalya in the ring. Dom comes up to the ring, starts yelling at Natalya to a certain extent, bothering her. She turns around and looks at him instead of keeping an eye on Rhea Ripley. Rhea nails her from the back. Then Rhea takes her out of the ring. She throws her at least twice into two steps. The first step right next to the commentary table. She picks her up, takes her to the other step, to the other area, takes her back into the ring, and then does Riptide end. Say about a minute or so of content right there. Quick, easy, to the point, over. That shows you how much they cared about the SmackDown side of their title. The Raw title was cared about, given a good amount of time, but the SmackDown title don't matter. Even though they're both Raw wrestlers, even though Natalya's from Raw, Rhea Ripley's from Raw, they're fighting over a SmackDown title. Guess what? That title means nothing because it was only about a minute, maybe a minute and a half of content, not talking about when they both walk down to the ring, which comes out to 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. A minute to maybe a minute. This is what you get. Nothing. Next, the match that I knew they were going to make Cody either work his ass off to win against Brock or work his ass off to lose to Brock. This is the match I didn't care at all about. I knew it would probably, if they didn't rush it within 2 or 3 minutes, it was going to be about Cody having to struggle against Brock. Particularly that they made it so... You got Michael Cole saying that he had a titanium, like unobtainium, a titanium cast. Really? A titanium cast. Titanium. Really? They don't do titanium casts unless you have multiple fractures in multiple places. And even then, why are you getting a titanium cast when it should be just a ordinary, it could be carbon fiber. That's cheaper because it ain't titanium. It ain't unobtainium. It ain't none of that mess. But they eventually leaned into it because in the very beginning, Cody was terrified to let Brock. He's going like this. I think I got a shot of it. I've been putting shots in here. I think I got a shot of it in my face. You see him keeping his left arm as far away as possible. Brock grabs at him a couple of times. Eventually, he does get his arm and starts attacking him, trying to mess up his arm. Eventually, Cody hits him in the head. And then, for a moment, he goes, Eureka! I could use this! And started whacking at a Brock Lesnar with it. Brock acting dazed beyond fuck, like he just spent a couple of nights in the bar and just said simply, hey, what's that drink you gave me? It was like a 6 mixed with tequila, bourbon, rum, Scotch whiskey, and 2 different types of white lightning. Oh, drops to the floor. I don't know if you made sense of that. But essentially that's what it was trying to do. Making it that Brock has been dazed by this. Cody does everything he can to be able to use this. He's in constant pain. They're talking about that constantly. Eventually, Kimura lock next to a couple of suplex cities, which the crowds were screaming for. You got Brock putting the Kimura on him and Cody fading a little bit, but barely managing to keep alive, and then managing to do not 1 crossroad, not 2 crossroad. I believe he did 3 crossroads before he got 1 F5. And then he get back into a Kimura lock again, and then he fades out because he couldn't take the pain anymore. He's safe. He did not job. He was protected. Wonderful. But guess what? And this is what not everyone's going to say. I'm sure JD may say it. I don't know about just Alex. But JD may say this. Cody's done. Because simply, why do we care? Cody has shown how tough he is. But what does this really give him at all? Nothing. Not until Money in the Bank. If he even can be in Money in the Bank. Because he supposedly have a broken arm. Will he be in Money in the Bank? I don't know. It's going to count on him winning Money in the Bank. Because JD talked about it, and I do agree. Cody has to win at a signature pay-per-view. Now that he's on roll, well, I'm botching it because I'm thinking that this is where they're going. And it's stupid. There's one of 2 ways. Either he's going to win Money in the Bank, and he's going to get a shot at Roman at WrestleMania. He's going to hold on to the title of Money in the Bank winner until WrestleMania, which at that point, who's going to fucking care? It's going to be nearly a year. I'm not going to care. I'm done with Cody already because I said it myself. What's going to happen because of Vince, he's going to push him hard, and then Cody's going to start tapering off until we don't see him. Now, if he wins Money in the Bank, he doesn't even need to be seen. He's got the damn title. He just needs to come out once in a while as the Money in the Bank winner, do some matches, maybe a little bit of feuds, but it makes no difference. He will have a guaranteed moment against Roman if they go there. Then, if we do Money in the Bank, you may get him going up against Seth Rollins if they even give him the title, because they may just have him go and get the world title at SummerSlam, and that will be his moment. It won't be WrestleMania, and it won't be for the top spot. It will be for the lower tier title that's considered basically a joke. There you go. Now, they did do a vid pack for Ronda Rousey because of what's about to happen tomorrow on Raw with the Fatal 4-Way, I believe, for the Raw and, well, the WWE Women's Tag Titles. I'm botching it because I don't really care. Then they did show a little bit of LA Knight. They showed a little bit of Omos. They showed a little bit of Karrion Kross and his gorgeous Scarlett Bordeaux in the crowd, which I commend them. At least you are able to have those people there, and particularly when it came to Scarlett being near a whole bunch of people. And you can see security trying to keep them away from touching her. That's what we got, at least for an LA Knight, who was the first one there, took off his glasses, looking, yeah, that's my boy. Now, LA Knight's my boy. He'll always be my boy. He'll always be my boy. But he's the first one to be shown. Hopefully they will do something other than have him win against Rick Boobs. I'm just saying. Finally, the last thing to care about. The Universal Champion and his cousin Solo go up against the undisputed tag team champions of the world, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, where it was interesting. We got a better pop from Sami than Mustafa Ali, because since he does speak, and I believe that is Arabic. I believe it is. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure. I don't think it could be Syrian. I don't know what language it is. It is an Arabic language, and he was speaking it wearing all white. He came out to the ring all white, and he began to speak in Arabic, talking to the people. The people ate it. It was like candy to them. They were just going, They were eating that shit. I'll say it again. They were eating that shit. They loved that he, as one of their own, he was speaking their language. He was one of them. Why in the blue fuck did not Vince bring him unless the Saudi prince did not want him there? I'm just saying. We get the match. Fine match. It was alright. It wasn't a bad match. But what did we get? We get exactly what we expected. The Usos show up. But that was after the ref had been speared by Roman trying to nail a Sami Zayn. Then we get the Usos showing up, nailing a Kevin Owens, making sure that they nail a Sami Zayn, well, at least until they nailed their brother Solo, trying to nail Sami. No, was it Sami or was it Kevin? I can't remember. I think it was Kevin they tried to nail, but they missed. And it was Solo they nailed. They didn't know what to do. Then Sami came in, beat up on them. Solo was dazed. Sami also nailed. I believe it was Jay he nailed, because Kevin nailed Jimmy. Then Sami nails a halloumi kick nail right to Solo's face. Now, another ref comes out, I believe. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Because, no. I'm missing one small part, which is the best part. And I think I've done that on purpose, because I want to make this very clear how important it is. Yeah, I know why I just left that part out. Not because I botched. It's because, like I said, only one match mattered. When it was all done, Solo gets nailed. It was before the ref comes out to do the count on Sami and Solo. You get Roman Reigns coming in the ring. He's angry at AJ. He pie-faced his ass, saying, "What the hell are you doing here? Get out, this is my moment." Pie-faces him. Jimmy is the one that super kicks him. Jay is totally torn. Doesn't know what to do. Jimmy's saying, "I'm your family. I got you." He's nothing. And then he super kicks Roman in the ear. Roman rolls out of the ring. And then you get what happened with Sami and Solo. But now you see Jay being told by Jimmy, "I'm your family." He's now Uso. "I am your Uso." He's nothing. And he's talking about Roman. He's not saying anything about Solo. He's not saying anything about both their younger baby brother. Because remember, we got two twins who were born literally a few minutes apart. And the baby brother that just super kicked in the damn face. You got this. And in the end, once he snaps out of it and notices they lost, and it's the first loss he's ever had in almost 2 years, you get Roman Reigns angry, going like this to one of the fans, and then you only gently see the Usos walking up the ramp. He says, "I got you. I'm your family. I got you." And you hear Jay saying, "Us, Us." It's about Jay and Jimmy and the bloodline imploding. Now here's the question that I must pose to you. What does this mean now as a singles situation? Because we're not going to be going for the tag titles. We're not going to see Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus Jay and Jimmy. That didn't happen. So at this point, there's going to be a singles match between probably Jimmy and Roman Reigns. I'm not saying it'll be for the titles, but it's going to eventually happen. What do you actually think? Do you honestly believe that this is just going to end with Jimmy beating Roman Reigns. I don't think so. I don't think this is about the bloodline ending. I truly believe that this, as I said before, if anyone's seen my Who is the Head of the Table, this is not about the bloodline imploding. This is about who's the true leader of the bloodline. Because you've heard Jimmy and Jay be put over by not just Sammy, but now Kevin Owens. This has got to be, at this point, who should be the true leader of the bloodline. If they implode the bloodline and now it's over, it's a waste. Because they can have a little bit more mileage out of this, because they should give a new leader of the bloodline. The new leader should be one of the Usos, and there's only one person that makes the best sense, because as you heard Jimmy tell Jay, I did this because you should have done this a while ago. This should be about Jay, because he's torn. Guys, Jay Uso is still showing loyalty to Roman Reigns, calling him Us, calling him brother, when it's his cousin who's been fucking them over. And right now, his younger brother Solo is still under the thumb of Roman. The key of this, it must be, unless they're going to be just imploding it and getting over with because they don't care about it anymore, it should be about who's the new leader of the bloodline. It should not be Jimmy. It should not be Solo. And it should not be Roman. It should be Jay as the very first person Roman brought in. And the one who's still showing loyalty to him. He hasn't flipped yet. If they're smart, they won't flip him yet. He'll still be conflicted. Let Solo be the one that turns eventually on Roman as well. But Jay still refuses to pull the trigger until he takes ownership of what needs to be done. That one relative must be the head of their bloodline. That he must become the new tribal chief. It should be Jay. They should not walk away from this. If they walk away from this, it is such a lost opportunity. It will blow everyone's mind that they destroy the bloodline. Roman's no longer a leader because there's no more bloodline. But what happens if Roman has to submit to one of them? Think about it. If he submits to Jay, it will be the ultimate humiliation. What he did to Jay when he made Jay say, I quit 2 years ago, when his own brother, who was still just finished recovering from his knee surgery and just came back, who was being choked out by Roman, it would be ironic that he must now submit to Jay Uso. If they have the brain power to go there, do I believe? No. But do I think it would work if they did it? Hell yeah. No one would expect it. But this is just me. I hope you enjoyed this Night of Champions review. I will be doing my Double or Nothing review. Oh, thank goodness this wasn't at night. I hope you enjoy this. Peace.